Tom, thanks for doing it. Great to talk to you. There's a lot that I want to get into, but if we were to take a step back and you were to look at the overall picture of the offseason so far, you brought in Brandon Staley as your head coach. You had the Rookie of the Year quarterback. You selected a big-time offensive lineman in the first round. So from the outside, it feels like a lot of boxes have been checked. Is that how it feels to you, and what's the mood around the team like right now?
Well, yeah, we've checked a good amount of boxes, not all of them yet, but yeah, there's been a lot of change, which is natural when you have a head coaching change, and now not only the head coaching change, but it's a whole new change on offense and defense as far as the schemes we're going to run. So the roster has turned over a little bit, but it's exciting. It really is, and I understand like every team right now feels the same way we do, but we put a plan in place. After we hired Brandon, we really worked on that plan in February and then tried to execute that through March and April. And so far it's worked out well. We feel good about the plan. Now it's about executing as far as everybody, once they get here, get on the field, get on the grass, and see everybody fits together. But it's been good. Like I said, we put a plan together in February, and we've been able to stick to the process, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
LA Chargers GM Tom Telesco, my guest. Now, speaking of Brandon and hiring him, I spoke to him shortly after he was hired. I was extremely impressed. In fact, I was actually kind of fired up. Can you take me through the process for identifying him? For instance, what were you looking for in a head coach, and what do you like about what he brings to your team?
I'll tell you what, he brings such a great passion, which I'm sure when you interviewed him, you could probably tell within the first 30 seconds how much passion he has for the game of football, and what a great relationship coach he is. He's got a really unique style of leadership. It's almost less of don't follow me and more join me, and not only with the players but with the assistant coaches and the front office. And he just brings a lot of energy, and obviously his background and his body of work at the pro level was smaller than some others. But that's also why we do interviews, and that's why we looked at his body of work as far as what he did on defense with the Rams, certainly, and then with Chicago Bears as well, but certainly with the Rams. We did an interview with him. We kind of vet him as much as we could, and everything's kind of lined up. The things that he likes to do on defense, his knowledge of the offense, how he works with people, how he builds relationships with throughout the organization, and he's a smart football guy. And he's really able to take like complex situations and really simplify them, and they communicate that with a player, with an assistant coach, with the GM, with the scout, whoever it may be, and he's got a great feel for that.
I know exactly what you're talking about, at least in the sense that he can take these kind of intricate, complex things, make them easy to understand, and his ability to connect with and his relationship building is really amazing. You're right. You could tell within 30 seconds of talking to him that he was really different in that regard. Tom Telesco is my guest. So what about last year, Tom? When you took Justin Herbert with the 6th pick overall, what kind of plans did you have for him as he approached his rookie season? In other words, what kind of expectations did you have for him in terms of playing time and impact?
Well, we were pretty open about it last year as we went into training camp. We were in the middle of that pandemic where we had no off-season program and obviously limited preseason with no preseason games at all. We had signed Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod was going to be the quarterback going into the season. There just wasn't at that time. We didn't think there was going to be enough work for Justin that would be ready to go at that point. He showed well in training camp, but again, we had no live reps in training camp for the quarterbacks, no preseason games. So Tyrod was the starter going into the season. I felt fine about that, as did Anthony Lynn. And obviously we saw what happened in week 2, and Justin got in there and just performed at a high level. And I think the most interesting thing about it was the kid just never flinched. And he enjoyed playing. So you could tell, number one, it wasn't too big for him, which, is a credit to the University of Oregon, how they coached him there, how they developed him there. And being a 4-year starter in college and staying for 4 years, I think helped him too. He's very mature. When he got to this level, like I said, it wasn't too big for him. And he just took off week after week after week. So it was, incredible to see. And really, it's a big part of, his upbringing, his college experience, and then the development here with the coaching staff and all the work he put into it.
I was going to say, and you kind of answered it already, Tom, but I was going to say, like, how in the world, I understand this is a really unique young guy, very talented, very smart, but how do you explain somebody coming into the NFL at that position, taking over the way he did when he did, and making it look so easy when you know it's not?
No, it's not. But he just has a great mental makeup. I mean, he's strong mentally. He's very intelligent, and he's an excellent worker, and he wants to learn. And obviously, he's very talented physically. But he has all those characteristics as a quarterback that you need to have at this level. That position is so much more than just the physical skill of it. It's really, what you have inside of you and be able to process and make quick decisions. And obviously the pro game is going to be a little bit faster than the college game. And there's going to be more complex defenses he'll see at this level than he sees in college. So that's going to take time. But he puts in all the work, Monday through Saturday, the preparation part of it, which is just as important as game day on Sunday. And, we couldn't be more happy with this development.
Tom Telesco joining us. All right, so Tom, I spoke to Rashawn Slater. You were able to stay put with the draft. You get him the 13th pick overall. From talking to him also, great personality, great attitude. I'm curious, what was the vibe like in your war room when you were officially on the clock and your guy was still on the board?
Yeah, well, it was really after about pick 8, where once he was still on the board after pick 8, I felt pretty comfortable that he would get to us at our pick at 13. But going into the draft, I had pegged it at maybe 10% chance he gets to us at pick 13. And then we had some other options available if he didn't. It was. We knew going into this offseason, we wanted to get some improvement on the offensive line. And so we kind of put a plan together. We felt like in free agency there were some options in the interior, both guards and tackles, not as many options centers and guards, not as many options at tackle. And this was a pretty strong tackle draft, not just in the first round, but probably at least the first 2 rounds and maybe into half the third round. So, but obviously we had Rashawn as one of our top guys. Didn't know if he would get to us or not. But like I said, once he passed pick 8, we felt pretty good that he should be there at our pick, and just felt like he was the fit that we're looking for that position, both in a run game and pass game. On the field, off the field. We're really, really excited to get him here, and can't wait to get him on the grass, this week at rookie minicamp and get it going.
Tom Telesco joining me for a few more moments. It's kind of tough without the fans, and they're going to come back, and the facility obviously is so beautiful. I know you're looking forward to that. Staley was saying that the games, though, without the fans, reminded him a little bit of his days at John Carroll. You're the pride of John Carroll University as well. You played football there. He coached there for a few years. Those who know that John Carroll is an absolute launching pad for NFL people. How do you explain that? I've always been absolutely fascinated by that, but how do you explain that?
It's funny because I've been asked that many times, and I just don't have a great answer for it because so many of us came in different ways. It wasn't like you had a couple people from John Carroll get into the NFL and they all started hiring people from John Carroll. It really wasn't like that at all. Even I graduated in 1995 and I got hired by the Carolina Panthers. In the same year, Greg Roman, who was a teammate of mine, he got hired by the Carolina Panthers in a totally different way. He started off actually in strength and conditioning before he moved into coaching. But I can speak from experience. I mean, the experience I had at John Carroll, because obviously Division III football, you're not there on a full scholarship. So you're there because you're playing because you love to play the game. And we had great coaching staffs when I was there. They tried to run the program like a Division I school. And we've just been really successful with people, whether it's in coaching or scouting, even some administrative jobs coming from that school. And it's a nice little fraternity to have. We're really proud of it. And, Brandon was a coach there. He didn't play there, but he was a coach. So we'll take credit for him too, as far as being a John Carroll guy. But it's a really interesting story, and really proud of everybody from the school that's really made it to this far.
It's fascinating. Listen, before you go, as long as we're going back, they pay me to be objective. I don't play favorites. Having said that, one of my all-time favorite NFL players ever was Bob Sanders. You were with the Colts when he was there. What do you remember about him as a player and a presence and the way he attacked that game and the way he flew around?
You just mentioned it right there. Just what a presence he had. When he was on the field, things changed. And I think, as you look back, I think people sometimes thought he was just like a a box safety. They'd come up and play the run games. He was such a big, explosive hitter, but he was just as played as well in coverage as he did in the run game. One of the most explosive hitters I've ever been around. It was a great job by Bill Polian, which is why he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he traded down, I think, twice and then took him. And kind of played the draft game, was still able to draft him. And there was one year that Bob was hurt most of the year, and Bill kept him on the active roster through the whole year just so we had him in the playoffs, because he could change the game that much for us. But one of the best safeties I've ever been around. One of the hardest hitters, one of the fastest, most explosive, and football instincts. I mean, he was the perfect safety in that Tony Dungy defense, playing that John Lynch role, which was a critical part of the Tampa 2 defense, and helped us win a Super Bowl.